talking about last time about what's what, is it rock, is it bush, is it where, you can pause your fish finder and or just stop your boat or whatever, mark it, whatever you want to do, come back over it with your downscan imaging and get a better idea of what it is. And you can usually get a pretty darn good idea of what it is. Now this ain't, some people can locate fish on a downscan imaging. They say it looks like rice. These little tiny things here. It could be bass, but when you're standing up 5 feet away from your fish finder, and you're standing, or you're downscan imaging, and you're standing on the front of the boat, and it's windy, the boat's rocking. It's really, and the sun's out. It's hard to see those little dots. So you really got to have both. But if you really want to find out what that rock, if that is that a rock, is that a bush, is that wood, is it a log, then downscan imaging is really what you got to use, because they use this to locate shipwrecks in the ocean and stuff like that. If there was a boat right here, a shipwreck, you would see the mast, you would see the shape of the boat, you would see everything, and that's a good feature to have, so that way basically you really know what's going on the bottom. The regular sonar tends to show things kind of blobby, so it kind of just puts things together. But that's your fish finder, and this is your downscan imaging. So this is what's going to help you determine exactly what they're hitting, and then also help you find new spots that could be a benefit to fish. So as you're cruising along here, and it's kind of the same deal. The yellow is the hard bottom, the orange is a bit softer. So I'm really hoping we can get, this thing shows a tree and stuff here, because then you can really get an idea of what you're looking at. As this comes up right here, this is more than likely a rock, and the reason why is because there's currents and stuff that go on all the time underneath the water, and it helps flatten this stuff out. So if this was a big pile of sand and it was that high up, big pile at the bottom, it would more than likely be like an orangish color, showing that it's a little bit softer, but it's showing a hard return. But there is some orange on one side, so there's obviously some stuff on it, some mud on it, but it's more than likely rock. And same with this guy right here. That's just a weird shape to be the bottom just coming up. It's kind of a weird shape. So I would say that that's more than likely a rock, but it doesn't matter if there's no fish around it anyway. But it could still be a good spot to mark, to where you can go check when you notice bass are hitting rocks and stuff. See if we can get some of these settings on here. Just adjust this contrast just a little bit. There we go. There it shows the harder returns just a little bit more. Okay. So you're going up, as you're going up the hill here, the downscan imaging, actually shows you the contours of the bottom, and it shows a lot better than the sonar. But this is pretty solid right here, so that's a hard return. So that's probably more than likely going to be more jagged rock sitting right here. It's probably going to be rock. If it's going to be a tree or anything like that, then you're going to see, say you have one, like a Christmas tree in there, for instance, you're going to see that main stalk, and then you're going to see just kind of not so hard of returned colors. Like, you're not going to see so much yellow, you're going to see more orange for the leaves, or for the bushes coming off the side. So but I don't see the simulator showing me too much trees sticking up off the bottom quite yet. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit to see if I can get it. Actually, I think, yeah, it'll go faster. There it goes. And I have it on 800 kilohertz right now. You can put it on 455 if you want, but I think you get a deeper, penetration with the 800, I think it is. So we've got, this is a 455 right here. So we'll let that run for a minute. You can check that out. And I figure if I speed this up, it might just hurry up and get me to a tree. Now these dots here are probably bass. Or some type of fish, you know. You know, this doesn't show grass and stuff like that, you know, is good. Your regular sonar, Fishfinder sonar will help you determine grass a little bit better than this will. But this will show you your actual structure, you know. Probably a bunch of bass right here. You got a drop off there. Or a bunch of fish. Let's back off on, let's do some auto contrast first. And then put this back on 800. Check out some of these down scan images. It's kind of the same deal as what I went through on the first video with the noise rejection and all that. You know, if you've got your transducer next to your big motor, then I would use that, but otherwise, no big deal. Okay. Let's get out of there. And the range is on auto. Okay, we're on auto contrast, so we don't need that. Just hoping to find some sensitivity settings, but okay. So this is the 800 kilohertz right here, and you know this gives you the. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure it gives you a little bit of a deeper penetration. You know, you're sitting in 50 feet here on the simulator, so you'd want something that I don't think you get as wide of a cone angle, but you do get it to penetrate further down. So you know, I don't know if the simulator is going to end up showing us some bushes or you know some logs and stuff. You know, not all lakes have logs and trees and all that kind of stuff in it, but you know you would see something coming out off of the bottom. You know, maybe going like this or just kind of curling over and going over here, and you would be able to see underneath it. You know, it would show the thickest part, which is going to be the actual trunk. It would show that, so that way you can tell that it's a tree. But I don't think it's going to show it on here. So anyway, that's it for the downscan imaging. You know, use those hard returns and you know shapes and stuff like that to determine what the bass are sitting on, and then you know you can duplicate it that way. But once you find them with your fish finder and you want to know exactly where they're on, then this is a good option. You know, depending if the bass are sitting in grass, this may not be the best thing to put on because it doesn't show grass very good. But if you're in a lake where there's a bunch of logs, you know, lay downs and stuff like that, down scan imaging is great.